to spend the weekend here.
Hello, my name is Contover, and this is the Current Buzz. Thank you for watching today. Today we have Jay Linnehan, an old friend of mine that I've known for many, many years, and we have John Chemaly. Jay is the president CEO of Greater Lowell Community Foundation, and I don't know about you. I mean, what's your title now? Vice president, senior vice president?
The foundation, I am just a board member.
Oh, okay,
And chairman of the development committee, but
okay.
My current title now is senior vice president of corporate strategy at Pride Star EMS.
Okay, EMS. We have to remember that. Okay, so Lowell, Greater Lowell Community Foundation, right? You're a board member and you're the CEO and president.
Correct.
And we have you here to explain what the mission is of the...
Well, I mean, the mission of the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, well, actually, it was established some 25 years ago. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary on June 2nd. We can talk about that a little bit later. But the mission is really to improve the quality of life of the people that live in our area. And doing that through a variety of different ways, grants through nonprofits and scholarships in a variety of different ways as well.
You say nonprofits. Explain to some people what a nonprofit is, a 501c3, because they may not know what a nonprofit is and what it does.
A nonprofit is a special designation of an organizational entity that's received tax-exempt status from the Internal Revenue Service.
Okay.
They file certain paperwork, the Internal Revenue reviews it. I mean, there's lots of different tax-exempt entities, but charitable ones are the ones we're talking about here.
Right.
And they receive a 501c3 status, and they're exempt from a variety of different taxes. The reason the federal government does that is because so many of the nonprofits provide social services within our community,
right,
that the government recognizes they can't do all of that. So they give special tax status to lots of entities in furtherance of those social issues that the federal government, state government, or local government does not have the capacity to address.
Oh, good point. Okay. I'm glad I asked you that question because it's really important for people to know that. And how many do you help nonprofits in the area? What's your town or Greater Lowell?
Well, it's Greater Lowell.
Lawrence?
It's 21 communities. It's not Lawrence falls into Essex County Community Foundation. Community foundations represent geographical areas.
I see.
And there's 21 communities in the Greater Lowell, and it's certainly the Greater Lowell area, but we go out to Groton, and we're down to Acton, and certainly Chelmsford. And so it's 21 different communities that we serve.
I see.
Jay, how many community foundations are there in the state?
In the state, I think there's 14, 15 community foundations in the state, which again, each have a geographical area. So we don't compete with each other. Actually, we work with each other to help each other in the different communities. You know, we'll share best practices. How do you do this? How do you do that? And that's been no more prevalent than it has been over the last 2 years dealing with the pandemic.
All right. I know, speaking of the pandemic, I saw this article on April 17th in the Lowell Sun. You guys gave out $225,000.
Read that again.
$525,000. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the two.
Since the beginning of the pandemic to date, we've probably awarded somewhere about $5.5 million to a variety of different organizations, probably 120 plus. And we've had lots of people participate in giving to help us do that. Some of it's been from other foundations, a lot of it has been from individuals. We've had state money that has come through, we've had federal money that's come through. But as we go all the way back to March of 2020, when this all started and everybody was a little panicked, going, what is this? And there was lots of anxiety. We were getting small grants, literally dropping off PPE at doorsteps of nonprofits that didn't have any PPE because they couldn't get it. We were fortunate enough to have a connection with a local vendor that knew that's what we were doing, and so we would get PPE and deliver it. My good friend over here, when we were looking at with what is not a nonprofit but works very much in first responder, of course, the EMS, I called up John. I actually called up Dave Daly as well and said, do you guys need PPE? Dave Daly said, Jay, this isn't funny. I said, I'm not being funny. I don't have a lot, but we do have some. He goes, oh man, what do you got? And literally I left boxes on my front door of my house, and he came and picked it up, and John came and picked it up, until such time as the supply started to catch up with the demand.
There were many of us, Dean, that were beneficiaries of the Greater Lowell Community Foundation's, benevolence and generosity, because there was a time when we couldn't even find
vendor.
an N95 mask or
Gowns,
or
gloves, disinfectant.
We couldn't find them, and thanks to him, he would call me and say, "Hey, John, I got 2 boxes of masks and some gowns on my front porch. Why don't you come pick them up?" So literally hundreds of masks.
Well, didn't you go to the local regional Volk school and get masks from them?
Oh, we
Was
had
it
from,
you?
well, there was, there's a woman at Domino's Pizza that was making them in her home, and she would call me, Domino's on Mammoth Road, God bless them. She would call me and say, "Hey, John, I've got 150 masks for you." They were cloth, beautiful masks.
Wow.
She made them herself.
Wow.
And then we had many, many people. There's a guy on Rock Street in Lowell
Yeah, I'm
that
familiar
had
with
to
that.
add 12 more people to his business because I introduced him to the Mass Ambulance Association.
Mm-hmm.
And now there was, instead of 1 or 2 companies like Pride Star or Trinity, now he's got like 20 companies calling him.
Is he still producing masks?
I'm thinking he's cut back,
Okay.
but I'm sure he must be still in business.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about annual meeting 2022. That's the right number, right?
Right, yeah.
January
25th anniversary.
Right.
We're celebrating on June 2, which happens to be the exact day that the Articles of Incorporation were filed 25
Wow,
years
okay.
ago.
All right.
And so we'll have it on June 2. It will be at the Inn and Conference Center. And if anyone who's interested on it,
Where is that for some people?
Inn and Conference Center that's 50 Warren Street in Lowell.
Okay.
That's right downtown.
Okay.
It's the University of Lowell building.
Okay.
And we've got a guest speaker that is Doris Kearns Goodwin, that many
I've heard
people
of
may
her.
know of.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested in participating, go on our website, Greater Lowell Community Foundation.org. It's easy to find, glcffoundation.org.
Okay.
And it's an in-person, but it's also virtual. So we're going to have both options for
Oh, I
folks.
see.
So
Okay.
there's a virtual option as well. So if folks just want to tune in and see what Doris is going to say, and she'll talk, I think, about leadership in turbulent times. And certainly there's enough topic there to talk about these days. And her book is an amazing book if you have the opportunity to read it.
Which one is which?
It's the one that she did, which was
Oh, that's
leadership,
right, that's right.
with the 4 different presidents, which
That's
is an
good, yeah.
amazing book as well. But we're pleased to have her. We're pleased to be celebrating our 25th year in the community. It's quite a thing to celebrate, and we're hopeful that the community will join us in that.
Who gives you funds? I mean, who supports the foundation?
Well, a community. Well, that's fundamentally the question. What's a community foundation? A community foundation is literally a foundation that's set up for the community. So we manage approximately $60 million.
Wow.
Of that, we've got
from Greater Lowell. I mean,
for the Greater Lowell.
People
So we've
donate
got
that much.
We've got 500 different individuals that have created some 390 different funds in different funds, typically donor advised funds, but scholarship funds. Those are the 2 most prominent that people put money in, and they direct their philanthropy through the Greater Lowell Community Foundation.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And we do the grassroots work. Lots of folks that have a donor advised fund, put money in, and they say, well, I'm interested in, working on the environment, or I'm interested with homeless, or I'm interested in working with children's needs. We can get back to them and go, well, some of the great nonprofits in the community that do that work is this. We can help you align your philanthropy with the needs in the community. And then scholarships, we do a tremendous amount of scholarships. Lowell High being the largest. Lowell High will have a honors night on May 17th. They'll have, I think it's 275 graduating students that will receive a scholarship. We will award $350,000 that night.
Wow.
Half of those students are first in their family to go to college, and 2/3 of those students all have financial need. So that's an amazing program that's been going on for a long time with the Greater Lowell Community Foundation.
Right.
We work closely with the school system. And if you ever want to go someplace to feel good about something, go watch that event. Because when all those students come into Irish Hall, which is the Lowell High School Hall,
Right.
they are just, Their feet are not touching the floor. They are just so excited. None of them know what they're going to get, but they all know they're going to get something that evening.
Right.
And it's an amazing, it's an amazing night. And the thing that's really interesting about it, if you give it a thought, is that all of those students that are receiving money are getting money from somebody that they don't know. These are folks that have put money in scholarships to benefit students so that their future could be brighter. And that's what philanthropy is all about. And some of the funds are large and some of the funds aren't. And that's a key point about philanthropy. You know, most folks think, well, yeah, I need lots of money, I need a big car, and I need to live in a big house to, you know, to participate in philanthropy. Not so. Anybody can participate in philanthropy.
I see.
One of the good things about it, Dean, is many of the funds are in perpetuity. When you give money to the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, there's an agreement that says you can give 5% of it, or Jay explained some of that. But my point is, it doesn't matter if you give $5,000 or $5 million. The money's there, and we administer a piece of it, but the rest of it is there in perpetuity, so that we can give it out. Your family, your foundation goes forever.
They're called endowed funds, and we have a spending plan, and it's that we spend 5% of the endowed funds every year. So you take, so you take 5% of 60 million. There's $3 million going out the door every year.
You just gave me this brochure that I haven't had time to read it. It's called the Chelmsford Community Fund. Explain that for people in Chelmsford and what it does. I don't know if you can, John.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a couple of community funds, and we're trying to look at a couple more.
I'm just going to try to show it here if I can.
Thank you. The town of Westford, under a woman who's a wonderful woman that's on our board, Patty Mason. She started the Westford Community Fund, and we have a steering committee, which is myself and my wife, George Dixon, Dr. Mark Gilchrist, Stephen Millette, Mary Moriarty, and John and Elaine Tebow. John and Elaine and myself are co-chairs of the fund, and the Chelmsford Fund is a fund for the betterment of nonprofits here in Chelmsford, and our goal is not to give $4,000 or $5,000 out, but there are some nonprofits in Chelmsford, like the Budget Buddies or the Food Pantry, or we did this past summer, we did through Lisa Marone from the city, from the town, we did Art on the Brooks. And there's many, and now we're going to do something with the Chelmsford Farmers Market on the Common.
When is that going to start again? Is that going to start?
Lisa Maroney is now just putting that together.
Okay.
It was on hiatus for the last couple of years, as you know, because of COVID. But our goal is to give moderate amounts of money that can go a long way for these smaller nonprofits. That's what we want to do. We're not. Our goal is not to give $5,000 out because the fund isn't that big. But if somebody needs a computer for $1,000, or we talked about at the last meeting, a school garden. They're trying to do. Jay, you can talk about.
Yeah,
the school garden
it's the Chelmsford Public School Garden for the elementary schools. There's already one in South Row, and they want to do them in the other middle schools, and we're looking to fund one of those.
Well, we're at one of the middle schools right now, right?
Right. And it'll be up to the school department to choose which one they want those funds to go to. But as John mentioned, it's the market in the Common. We've done that. Also funded the Chelmsford High School Santa Fund. We've done that. So we've raised some $35,000 in this fund since 2018 when it was established, and $11,000+ have gone out the door. And we continue to look for needs in the community, and it's a nice way for the community to invest in their own community.
Okay, so you have a garden at the middle school, right? And let's say they grow tomatoes, right? Where do the tomatoes go?
Yeah, you need to ask them where they go, but I'm pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure
they're probably going to go to the lunchroom.
They may go there, but they may well go. They may well go to the food pantry.
Oh, okay.
They may well go to Open Table. They may go to some of
To the
these.
food pantry as well. When Sandy Donovan was there, she made a great case for us, and we've made donations to a number of nonprofits here in Chelmsford. We want to keep doing that.
Some people may not know that we have a food pantry. Where is it? Where's the location?
Right now, it's behind Town Hall.
Right. Why? Is there plans to move it? You said right now?
Well, it has moved a couple times.
Oh, okay.
And it was, as you know, in the Chelmsford Center for the Arts, in the basement, the old town hall, there was it was just a small little room. Now they have a trailer
right.
that is packed full of food, but you know, these last couple of years of COVID, there are, God bless them, there are neighbors and there are friends that are having to go there every week to get food. So we want to help them as well.
Throughout the course of this pandemic, the #1 need has been food insecurity, by far.
No doubt.
The second has been housing insecurity. But those have been the most prominent. And if you stop and think about that just for a sec, you know, something that I take for granted, and probably most of us do every single day, which is a roof over your head and food on the table. People are, everybody is not that confident in what they're going to be, where they're going to sleep or where they're going to eat.
A good example is that in Ukraine at this moment that we speak, you know.
Exactly, yes. It's an unfortunate tragedy that's unfolding over there.
If I wanted to start a Ukrainian resettlement fund, I could, and you would donate to it?
You would talk to me.
Okay.
See, well, the thing to keep in mind is yes.
I'm not saying that I am. I'm just saying.
Lots of. One of the things we do, and it's folks that have charitable objectives. We have things that we're called fiscal sponsorships. So we have a variety of those, whereby people come up with a great idea that's a charitable objective, and they go, well, how do I do that? Well, if they wanted to go create a 501c3, they can do that. And you can go through all the paperwork. It's a little bit arduous, and you need to know what you're doing. Or in other instances, you can come operate underneath the foundation's 04 number. We will set up an account where funds can be receipted and dispersed in furtherance of that charitable objective.
Right.
So if anyone's familiar with Free Soil, which is a fiscal sponsorship that we set up, which is in furtherance of diversity in the community through the arts, that was set up at the Greater Lowell Community Fund.
I see. All right. So let's say I want to start a Ukrainian resettlement fund.
Right.
And you said I would call you, and you're an attorney, so would you help me, let's say, or somebody wanted to come? And
I have chatted with many people that have, because it's the community foundation. This is, and it's funny. Oftentimes people go, "Gee, that's really nice that you helped me with that." I said, "That's what we do. I mean, we're a community foundation. If people have charitable objectives they want to try to accomplish, and they're not sure how to go about it, by all means, give me a call." Again, anybody out there that's listening that said, "Gee, I've got an idea. How do I do it?" Just go on our website.
And we're a fiscal agent too. Not only did you have to start your own 501c3 if you wanted to, but you could also let the community foundation be your fiscal agent, and literally for a very small fee, you have no worries. You get the money, you give the money to us, and we give out a portion of it at your discretion. You tell us who, when, where, why.
In effect, that's what the Chelmsford Community Fund is, as well as the Westford Community Fund that John made note of. There's a fund that's set up, and anybody in Chelmsford, and John noted the players that are the steering committee, but a variety of people have contributed to that fund. We receipt those dollars. We send back letters, telling them thank you for your donation, your tax-exempt donations accepted, and so forth. And then in furtherance of needs in the community, the steering committee meets. We go around through Chelmsford. What are the needs? Again, we just mentioned the food pantry, or budget buddies, or things that the town wants to do, and we fund them. And that's how it all works. So money is raised in the community and is spent in the community.
I have a question. If somebody fills out a will, right, can they put your foundation on their will?
Absolutely. That's absolutely. Many people do that as their legacy piece.
Right, exactly.
They say, when I'm deceased, I want to have money go here, 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 and here. And absolutely, people do that all the time.
You would guide them through that too, or
well, if someone wanted to do that,
call you?
I would precisely. I mean, I would not get into any of the specifics with them on that, but I'd say talk to your attorney. This is how this works. I'd be happy to help you.
And people do that.
Of course.
Yeah. So if you're out there, definitely think about it in regards to your will, in regards to giving to the foundation, that it would help people in your name, right, down the road, and people would know that it was your fund, and And you wouldn't spend all of it all at once. You would dole it out sort of 5% or whatever they specifically
right.
want.
I mean, that would be part of what the will would dictate is where do you want it to go and how do you want it to go?
Okay. So in other words, if I wanted my funds, let's say I put in my will, I wanted to go to a Chelmsford High School Scholarship Fund.
Right.
You would administer that.
We would administer that.
Oh, okay.
Right. We would make sure that the money went what the donor intent was.
You have a board, right?
Yes.
Is John on the board?
Yeah, John's on the board. John's been on the board for a long time.
How many people on the board?
We have 24, and
Wow.
we will add another member to the board at the annual meeting for a total of 25.
Okay.
And it's a great board, too. They're all community members.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Our turnover isn't really that high.
Is that right?
Yeah,
No.
it's really a great board because we do such great work and people want to stay involved with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Is it just from Lowell, people on the board?
No,
or from,
no. I mean, part
all the
of our goal is to get folks from a variety of different places on the board. Obviously, John's from Chelmsford. Person that's coming on that we're going to put on is from Chelmsford. I'd say the preponderance of the people on the board are from Lowell, but we've got folks from Westford and from Groton and from
that's
Concord
great.
and from a variety of the different
Right.
towns, and we continue to need to do that. I mean, because Lowell is the city in the district, the needs in Lowell are greater than any of the surrounding communities. That does not mean the surrounding communities don't have needs. They all do. But the preponderance is clearly in Lowell. And most of the monies that we disperse end up in Lowell, again, for that particular reason. But certainly going to the surrounding communities and trying to identify their needs and making sure that we work with them as well to have an impact on the needs that are in that community, that community wants to see done and resolved. We do that all the time. And the reaching out part is a continuum.
In the early 20th century, the International Institute helped my family in the Lowell area. And I did get the paperwork, and it's very interesting to read in regards to them helping out. You help the International Institute immensely, don't you?
Yes, we've worked closely with them. The whole Afghan resettlement.
Okay.
The foundation, as soon as that started, we established a fund. The foundation seeded it with money at the foundation, and we had a variety of people in the community that likewise agreed that was a need and sent us money, and we've dispersed all of those funds at this point in time, and a large measure of that did go to the International Institute. And we've given funds to the International Institute out of other COVID funds that we've had too. They do tremendous work in the community, tremendous work.
Yeah, more people should know about it, really.
Right.
To be honest with you, I tried to get them on the show, and I don't know, they never contacted me back, and so maybe you can help me get that going.
Well, right now, George Ramirez is the.
I know George.
He's up at the Lawrence Partnership, and he may be able to help us with that. Derek Mitchell was part of the International Institute for the longest time, and he could help us with that.
What happened to Daryl Mitchell?
Derek he was at the Lawrence Partnership for
a long time,
and now he left. I'm not quite sure where he is now.
He's
They
doing the
moved to
leap.
New Hampshire.
He's doing that leap, which is the professional development piece.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That runs out. I think it's out of Harvard.
Okay.
Where they have different cohorts come in, and there's a whole curriculum that's associated with it. Professional development.
I'm not sure who's at the International Institute right now, but those are two people that could help
Right.
us for sure.
For sure, and I could do the same. But
Let's
so,
talk about this because
Yes,
we
so-
have a minute to go. And
Yes. So again, our annual meeting is on June 2. Reception at 5 to 6. The program begins at 6. Again, there's an in-person and a virtual option to that. We're hopeful people will come. We're hopeful people will get to know more about what the Community Foundation does as we continue to try to engage in the community. It's funny, as you talk about who knows what and so forth, that is a continuum. It's a communication continuum where folks go, I didn't know you did this. I didn't know you did that. There's lots of things that we do that people don't know. And so the more that people know about what we do, the more we can impact the community.
that's why, Jay, I had you come on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
To let the community
appreciate
know
that.
what's going on.
The money we raise goes back to the community. Our overhead is extremely low. And we have dollars from individuals that care about their community, and we get them into the community.
He's been such a success. We've grown 40%.